Hello and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name is Adam Cook and I'm your host, and it is episode 413. Who knew? I'm not going to do that bit again. I remember recently I said, who knew we'd make it this far? Someone knew somewhere. I am Adam Cook, and to my left, depending on how you're watching this, maybe you're watching it via a mirror, you can see Chris Hyde.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm excited to talk some video games because we've got some damn good news to talk this week, sir. Mm-hmm. Have we not Mick Fraser beneath me? Sorry, no, hang on. Let me rephrase that slightly.
Don't rephrase it.
No, leave it. It's out there. It's out there now. It's been said.
I am beneath you. Here I am.
Oh, I don't
Hello,
know.
everybody.
Are we talking metaphorically or
Both.
just physically?
Well,
this podcast's off to a rocking start. We talked last week. Chris and I just talked last week actually about gaming news, and we thought, let's bring it back. At the time of recording this, genuinely I'm considering, do we start putting the podcast out on a Monday? Because I was thinking, a lot of people tell us how we make them smile and laugh and then enjoy our chat. And I thought, well, actually, then Monday's a damn fine day to change the podcast date to, because
everybody needs that on a Monday.
That's it. But also, if that means if we do the gaming news on this podcast, we can then send it out on a Monday, and it's still pretty much relevant, but we can also send it out to our, and here's the plug, here's the bit that I've got to, here's the long-winded part, a minute and a half in the plug, patreon.com/GodIsAGeek. You get this podcast early. We do another podcast that's food-related, where we rank foods. Actually, neither of these two chaps are on it, but there's no saying they can't come on it one day as a guest. If you're paying for it, essentially. You tell us what you want to hear. But this here podcast, however, this one's about video games. Now, I think this episode's going to upset some people, make some people feel warm inside, and then maybe the third game on this list is going to make people go, "Ooh, I haven't heard of that. What's that game about?" The question is, Christopher Hyde, which game would you like to start with, bearing in mind that only two of them you've actually played?
Let's start with Marvel's Avengers.
Ooh.
Okay, now I'm just going to set my watch just here. We're allowed to talk about this for 3 minutes before people start getting angry at what I have to say, okay? So, go.
So I'll say straight away, I've probably played less than the other two of you on Marvel's Avengers. I've probably played about 2 hours so far this week. I'm going to be playing a hell of a lot more of it, though, in the future.
Oh, that's interesting, Chris. Do tell. Why?
This game is just fun. And
No, it's not. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm going to have to stop you there. We're only 30 seconds in, so I still have to play the role of the host. And I'm here to tell you that, unfortunately, no, it's not very good. It's not a very good game. That was my watch actually is actually going a bit mad now. I pressed it, sort of fake pressed it too many times there. But no, the internet says it's not very good, Chris.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, sorry. No, I had my internet glasses off when I was playing this. I do apologise. I need to put them back on.
You can
no,
take the
so
internet
I'm just going to say what
off.
I think. How does that happen?
Interesting.
Sorry,
do tell.
I missed that.
It's all right. It's just Chris was just being wrong because he said he liked Avengers, and I was just explaining how the internet.
Oh no, you
has told him
can't. No,
it's
you
wrong.
can't like it.
No, we did that bit.
Jesus Christ!
Mick,
You're not on Twitter.
Mick.
I'm outraged by the.
Yes, but we've done that bit. That bit's been done while you were off, presumably looking at your nude wife again.
He wasn't nude.
Okay, well, that's ruined things for me a little bit. Chris, carry on.
I'll send you a pic.
Okay, so I played about 2 hours of Marvel's Avengers. So played the intro and like the first main kind of chapter of the game. And
What kind of twat likes Marvel Avengers?
I'll be honest, right? There was a little bit of me, and I knew it was never coming, but I really wanted, the theme tune from the MCU to kick in.
Yeah,
I really wanted that. I knew it was never going to happen, but I was like, just play it, just quietly for me, and it never happened. But I was like, anyway. But I think I'm going to end up playing a lot of this game. Even in the first couple of hours that I've played, I've played as quite a lot of different characters in the opening sequence, but also it seems that there's lots of different things to do. It's not just the same gameplay over and over again, even though there is obviously combat. There's also kind of platforming elements and stuff, and I've just kind of liked the variety that I've been doing so far. I haven't been annoyed by the fangirl, which I've heard a lot of noise about, but don't get it. I'm sorry,
I'm breaking.
Sorry,
my rules. I've got to jump in, and I can't let this go. I'm totally with you. I had heard an awful lot about like Kamala Khan, being like, oh, fangirl, and it's like, man, I think that's one of the most endearing things about the game. Her character's fucking Marvel. Oh no, I didn't know. No, that was genuinely on. That was not on purpose either. I really enjoy her character and that personality of she's like in the shit, but can't help the. That is that not human?
Yeah, I think honestly,
really
I
like
think
that.
the writing would be much poorer if she was this sort of nonchalant, kind of edgy, but almost flawless character. I think that would be terrible writing because no, she's this giggly kid, for want of a better phrase, that really looks up to these superheroes. She's kind of that's what her life has been about. And then she makes some silly mistakes. You know, in I've only played the first 2 hours, makes some mistakes, and that's just endearing. And if she behaved any differently, I'd be like, that doesn't make sense. That's not how that character would be. Like you don't end up at a fanfic convention if you're not in love with these superheroes and you're not enamored by them and everything about them. So I really don't get it, and it didn't annoy me at all. I'm surprised to hear it.
See, in the review I said she did annoy me at the beginning, and partly because I played it. So I played the beta out of context.
So hang on, I wanted to ask you this because I've been here before and I got burnt, and that game was Destiny, where I played the beta, which was the start of the game. Then I played the next beta, which was the start of the game, and then I played the final game, which was the start of the game. So I was a bit wary, given that I knew this was a service game. So I decided I'm not. I did actually download the beta, and I was like, no, I'm going to wait because I know I'm going to have to play this because it's a game. As in our jobs, in our roles, you kind of. It's one of those. It's a big enough game. You need to have something to say about it, I think, or at least be able to chime in when we're discussing it here. But I didn't play the beta. So what was the beta? The start of the game?
Well, not quite. No, like
okay.
You know, with
maybe
so
not.
The beta. The beta was the beta started with that explosion at the beginning,
right?
At the convention, and then you play that little bit where you play all the Avengers.
The bit they've shown before, I think.
And then it skips from the end of that to the bit where you first play as Hulk and Kamala together, where you take control of Hulk for the first time.
Oh, just to say, that's literally the point where I'm at. So.
Okay, so we won't spoil.
And then there's no more story after that. It just takes you on, I think, one more mission, and then it was like you could play the free play stuff and things. Yeah. But so it cut out like the chunk at the beginning where she's at the convention. It cut out the bit where she's sort of escaping and sort of doing the stealth bit through the city.
As you say, it's taken all the context out of the whole scene.
Which is partly why, because all you got in the beta, and this is why I got this feeling, because I played the beta twice. I didn't play it the third time, but I played it twice. And when I was playing the beta, there was a little bit where, because you didn't know the character, you didn't know really what happened to her and stuff. And then there's that bit with Mick Fury is in it at the beginning when he's like, gives her that message on the screen, and she's like, oh my God, Mick Fury. Yeah. But it's like, in that same sort of breath, it's like, well, he's like saying, if you're seeing this, I'm dead. But she's just like, oh, like, and I thought, there's a little bit of a tonal thing there where...
Maybe, but she still is presumably fairly young. I know there's a time skip, but...
It's 5 years after. She's like 18 or something, I guess.
Yeah, but
18, 19. Man... So, I don't know, but that's what I felt anyway at the beginning. But then, I mean... See, the thing is, I see people knock this campaign, and the writing in particular.
Yep.
And I really like the campaign. So, like, without spoiling it for you guys, or I don't know how far you've got in it, but like, there's a point in the campaign where you sort of everything sort of goes to shit and everything falls apart, and everybody's, you know, about to give up on it all because it's all hopeless. And it's obviously, and then it's like Kamala is that little bright spark in the middle that's been like, and she's like the one who kind of tries to get everybody back on the straight and narrow and tries to get everybody motivated again. And at that point where she kind of matures in the story, I mean, that's character progression. You can't knock that. And it's... Yeah. No, I really liked it. And I was on board with her from then.
But the story, man, maybe it's because I didn't really... I think when this game was first announced, I think probably almost everybody had the same reaction initially, which is a completely fair one, which is to go... Oh, that's not the Avengers I know. Be it the comics, be it the...
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And I don't think that's an unfair thing to do. I think that is completely natural to go... Because these aren't... This isn't some little-known, you know, thing that you... Like some indie thing you know, and it's like, oh, they're making a new version, and oh, what were they doing? Oh, wow, this is like... I mean, they're probably... It doesn't come much bigger. It doesn't come much bigger than those movies. And whether you're the guy that sits again, yes, but actually the comic books, which is again absolutely valid, but those movies are enormous. Whether you like it or not, and you don't have to, they have become canon in people's heads. Like the characters, those.
Oh yeah,
those
because if you talk to people who were major, you talk to people who are major fans of the comics before the movies, and they'll say the same thing about the movies. That's not right.
Absolutely.
That's
But that initial reaction, I think, is fair. So coming back to it, I was pretty kind of fresh because I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch any of the War Table things. I don't. Unless it's something I feel again in the job I have to be watching this. I don't tend to watch long form things on games like that. I don't need to be hyped. I'll do my job when the time. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't feel like they really help me. I would rather have my opinion based on what I've played. But coming to this kind of fresh, actually, kind of clean slate, I think the story it's better than it has any right to be. Like, it's really surprised me. And I think, we've got to, obviously, me and Chris haven't finished the story, so we've got to put that to one side. And of course, there is a video game here. And I will admit that I can see the cracks, and I can see what people are saying. There's a very weird thing about this game. It doesn't feel unfinished. It just feels like it needed a little more QA, and in a really peculiar way. Like, there's a kind of almost an open world jankiness to this that you wouldn't expect from a property with this kind of much oomph behind it. But I will say, 4 hours in, 5 hours, I don't know. I can see quite a bit of potential in the combat. And I've seen videos of people like air juggling with Kamala and other characters. And while yes, essentially you are kind of just going, bang 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 on a controller. I've heard, and I'm not comparing, by the way, so don't send me angry emails or angry comments. I've seen people sort of talk about DMC or those games in that way, in that if you want to, you can just hold a button to get through it, or mash a button. And I think that's true of this game. Like, you could drop the difficulty and probably just go, square, 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 square. Fine, if that's what you want. But I do get the impression that there is a bit of depth to the combat. I will say that the loot is a little uninspiring and a bit like it's almost you're being asked to sort of wipe your mind clean of those actors playing those roles, and I'm able to do that. I actually thought I'd struggle with that, and I know Mick, you probably, and probably Chris. I think most people thought I won't be able to see past like Scarlett Johansson as Black.
It took me a while to get there.
But
I was surprised how quickly I let that go.
Same,
like,
same. It was almost instant.
And when I first saw Black Widow, I was like, nah. And that, but now it literally, I don't even think about it.
No, not at all.
When I'm watching it or anything.
But I think
that's not even a thing for me now.
No, but the loot, I think, is maybe asking you to stretch your imagination slightly too far, because it's not that it's.
I think it's unnecessary.
So I was going to say, I don't think it's bad. I think it's weird. Like, there's like with certain characters, you're like adjusting their skull armor. And
it's not actually there.
It's not there. It's like a.
You see, the thing is, though, these characters have got.
Weird. Yeah.
See, the thing is, these characters have got suits. They've got powers. They've got If you wanted to put loot into this game properly, you could have done it with. It doesn't necessarily have to have altered the appearance. Like, that's fine.
Well,
You've got a lot of outfits
though,
and stuff.
You know why they've not done this? Because I was thinking about this too, Mick, and I was going to say, you've got your costumes and all that you can buy. That would be a way of doing loot, but then they can't charge you for it.
And they can't charge you for it. That's exactly the point.
They can't charge you for Hulk's. What's the Cabana outfit? They can't charge you for that. Is it Cabana or Havana outfit?
If you can unlock it in the game,
if it does more than a cosmetic effect. So they
but
were
what they
sort
could
of
have
left
done,
with. What do we? And also, I suppose, think about it. It's the Star Wars effect. You are probably only allowed to do a certain amount of things to those characters, because they are Captain America, they are Iron Man, and so I think that's why you get the skull cap adjustment that you don't actually see, because that. So, but then, as you say, was it?
See, I'd rather have seen intrinsic upgrades, or
yes, that's what I was going to say.
Because the skill trees for each character are pretty impressive. There's quite a big.
Enough just to be able to upgrade your skills when you level up? Do you need? because I don't even understand some of it, Mick. Like, you're a big Destiny player, so you probably understood the power levels and stuff a lot better than I did.
I was still a bit lost in Avengers, to be honest.
There's a power rating. There's like each non-rare item has like 4. I can't think of one now. It's a phrase or a synonym for, like, I think that one means I'm going to have more health, and that one sounds like it will give me more strength. But I don't think it ever explained it.
No, it doesn't explain it very well at all. There's no, because the tutorial for that would be boring anyway. But it's kind of fair. Like, but it's not. But it's something that shouldn't need a tutorial. It should be. I mean, the Destiny one is still something that people, when you first go into Destiny, you've never played Destiny 2 now, and you boot it up, you'd go, "The fuck does all this mean?" Because the game doesn't tell you. It just says, "Well, why have I got a level?" And then each individual thing's got a level. Then there's another level calculated from that level. It's just a way to make you have numbers to chase, and it's kind of, it's almost insulting in some ways when games do this now, because everybody, like Division, does it. And it's like, for why?
It's funny though. Just to go on a tangent, have you? Obviously, you and I both enjoyed Division 2. Did you see the new thing there? It really made me want to go and play that game again, because Division 2 was really good.
I like Division 2. Yeah,
and I'd quite like to do that mode. Like, I've said on other places that I've got big into PC gaming, and I was thinking, I've got the Division on PC, and I don't think I've ever played on PC. I'd kind of like to see that on PC, and Avengers is one that I'm a bit with you, Mick, and probably Chris, in that I want. Look, I'm sorry, I want Spider-Man. I know it will run better on my PC.
That's the only reason I wanted it on PS4. They played a blinder, to be honest.
They played us like fiddles, but the general feeling. See, and again, I may be speaking too soon because I haven't finished it, and what I'm hearing is actually most people saying the campaign is good. It's the stuff afterwards.
It tails off straight away.
Yeah, but man, what I keep hearing is that it's too repetitive, and I find
that's bullshit. It's a grind game. It's supposed to be repetitive.
I think it needs to be more. You need to if you're gonna come out and say I can't stand Avengers, it's too repetitive. I don't think that's you qualifying your opinion, because most video games have elements of repetition in them.
This is no different
Why is it not good repetition? Do you know?
Right, take Monster Hunter World, and I'll defend that with my dying breath. That's the exact game I was
going to ask you about, because that game is fucking repetitive.
Of course it is. You do the same thing literally over and over again. Literally. Now, fair enough, there's something like 72 odd monsters in it now, but once you've got... it's like playing darts. Once you know where to fucking throw it, it's pretty easy. And it's that sort of thing. There's not a great deal of... It doesn't really elaborate on anything. Even when the new monsters come in, it's kind of the same. And but no one seems to care. No one ever says, you know what, I can't be asked to grind 5 fucking Leviathans tonight. They just go and do it because that's the game. But in Destiny,
you said words then, but
exactly.
Chris, did you? I didn't quite. But
Destiny and with Avengers,
they're just finding things to say negatively about it. Because
I tell you what, this is what I said.
Hate, though, isn't it? That's the
it's what I said originally. This is what I think people expected when they said there's an Avengers game. People expected another Spider-Man, another Batman Arkham, another.
Think about who developed this game. They expected the Tomb Raider reboot, but Avengers.
Yeah, but Avengers.
And do you know what, man? That Tomb Raider reboot was spectacular, but I'm just gonna say. I'm having a lot of fun with the combat. I like. Yeah. I've seen people say the game looks bad, and I'm like, I don't think it looks bad. I've not seen anything looks bad yet.
I think it's got some visual glitches, but I think there's a couple of sections on it where there's a bit like in the helicarrier where it's all. I don't know where it is. I don't want to spoil anything.
No,
but there's a bit in the helicarrier where sort of, let's just say, for whatever reason, Kamala Khan's walking around outside on the helicarrier. And there's wind flying, and there's all these effects and stuff. And I was sitting there thinking, that looks fucking brilliant. But some areas of that game look really impressive.
But I even saw, like, when we covered the beta, I can't remember, I think it was Chris Hyde that captured that. I can't remember. But he was playing Iron Man. And I thought that looks bad. I thought that looks bad. And then when I finally got to control Iron Man in this game myself, it's like, actually, this is kind of different. This does actually work. I don't think he would be my go-to. Like, so far of what I've played, I've really enjoyed Hulk. Like, I'm sorry, but doing that massive clap thing as Hulk, that never gets boring.
Just grabbing.
Have you played much as Thor?
Other people.
Not
Have you
much.
unlocked Thor in the story?
No, not yet. But I really liked what I played of Thor, because
really
he seemed like they took, because there's obviously ranged characters. I tell you what, Black Widow. in the
Black
tutorial.
Widow's brilliant. She's my favourite character.
That was great.
I like
I'll
that
just
Taskmaster fight. That was
great. That was like a Spider-Man game fight.
Yeah.
But what I felt like is you've got characters like her that she can do melee, but she's good at guns. And you've got other characters like Hulk, which are clearly getting in close. Well, I felt like what I played so far of Thor was he's kind of somewhere down the line in the middle.
Yeah, and his ultimates are so fun. His abilities are so empowering. They're cool. Yeah,
and pulling that hammer back.
It's when you have to pull it back, and it knocks him.
I kept forgetting. I was like, "Where's the hammer?" And
Yep.
he starts like trying to swing his hands at people. Where's the hammer?
But I like it when you pull it back and it knocks him over from behind.
So that's the thing. When I missed the throw out, and then I went, "Oh, that's all right. I'll get him on the way back." And then they're just like, oh, as they go, because it goes through their back. We'll probably talk about this more. I would imagine.
It's a good. I think there's good. I'm hoping that. I think it's done quite well as well, despite the despite the negativity.
Well.
You know, it's going to have a big player base. Let's be honest, and I think it's going to do well. Crystal Dynamics will support it.
One of the weird things I was going to say, I forgot. I sort of trailed off a bit, but I remember now is some of the like. It does that thing. This is what I mean about the kind of open world jank, is that sometimes you sort of almost get not stuck, but kind of something on the ground will kind of obstruct you in a way that it feels like it shouldn't.
A little bit, yeah. See, I've not had any crashes and things. I've seen people reporting crashes. I had nothing, no hard crashes or anything like that.
Well, let's move on to another game, which I've kind of had my say on. Although I will just add, this game is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. And just before recording this, actually, right, I asked my son, my eldest son, who's 15, to come and just play the tutorial. And he did. And he was like, yeah, it seems decent. It's quite arcadey. And I went, yeah, now play Warehouse. 1 hour. And I was like, you really like that, didn't you? He goes, yeah, it's just really chill. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, is it me? Is it nostalgia? He's never played this game. He really.
No, my daughter's on it now.
My
daughter's playing it in the room now. She can't get enough.
So who wants to jump in then? Because I've had my say, but you two haven't had a chance to talk.
I'll just say what about with Tony Hawk's. Right, this is. I don't know if it's just that I'm older now, right, and maybe my reflexes have dulled slightly or something. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just used to repetitive grind games or something. But I can remember playing Tony Hawk's when I was younger. And there was a I don't know if it was might have been Tony Hawk's 3 though, where there was a thing where I wanted to get 1 million points in a run. And I think me and my brother spent a long time trying to nail 1 million points. And the only way you could really do it was to just not stop tricking for the entire.
Yes, that is it. So yeah.
And we did it, right? It took us a long time, and we got to a point where we did it. And I can remember being shit hot at that game, like when I was younger, because I played nothing but that game.
I can tell you now it's your age.
Yeah,
because and if I turn my back, right, this is what I would have heard. Hopefully this will pick up on the mic. If you're watching the video, I was actually sat on the sofa just behind me, and all I could hear was like that. And I turned round, and he goes, "I've just beaten your score, Dad." I was like, yeah. I wasn't really trying. I play on PS4. I've only just started the PC version, so
I was doing that tournament bit. You know where you go and you've got the 3 heats.
Yeah.
And I put it on last night, and I got to that part, and I was like, "This is fucking easy. I remember this. And I went in. I was on it for like an hour trying to beat that, and I was just like, "What is wrong with me?" And because I can remember, and some of the muscle memory is there because the whole like land a trick straight into a manual, straight into a grind, straight all that sort of stuff. I somewhere in the hind brain,
it's there.
There's like 17-year-old me going, "What the fuck are you doing, you idiot?" And I'm like, and it's taken me. I mean, I've been playing it now a couple of hours. I haven't played much. I've been playing it in the evening when I finish everything else. And I've been grinding away a little bit at it. But I just remember being really good, and now I'm shit. But
you know what? The other thing about it is you would have also probably sat and played for hours.
Well, I did, because I didn't have anything else.
You don't pick up and get 1 million points. You start, but you need to play like a few kind of get your eye in almost. It's one of those games you need to get your eye in.
And it was. Well, I used to be competitive. I'm not anymore. When I was younger, I used to be competitive. Okay. So when I was playing with like my stepbrothers and my brother, and we were sitting there, and it would be, well, if he nailed that score, I've got to get a better score. And so we used to do this for hours and hours and hours and hours. And now I'm against myself, and I haven't got that edge where I want to, So, but it's a bit more chill. But then I'm playing it in a chilled way. It's my chill out game right now, and it's so good for that. The soundtrack as well is fucking fantastic. That was a weird moment because I won't spoil the intro sort of video because it is so cool.
But the song that plays, Rage Against the Machine, I was actually at this point sat on the end of the sofa just watching my son, and he hadn't put these headphones on, but they're quite loud, so I could hear it coming out there. And he started going, "Lights out, Guerrilla Radio." I was like, "Wait, what? What? How do you?" But it was also like, if he wasn't watching, I'd have been going, "Yes, go on, my son." Yes. But because he's also old enough now that like he's old enough that if he sort of says, "Oh shit," I'm not going to go, "How dare you say that in my?" It's like, yeah, you're 15, mate. If that's the worst you're doing, then I'm a good and lucky father. Chris, you played it on PS4.
Yes, this game, it just makes me so happy, man. This game, it just Mick nailed it. It's like just this kind of comfort blanket that you just go back to however many years ago it was. I don't really want to think about it. Probably like 2002 when I was on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
Oh God.
And launching on the GameCube, I think. And I just love the muscle memory, like you say, manuals, reverts, all that sort of stuff. And I had the same thing as you. I'm very one of those anal people. I can't move on to the next level until I've got everything on there.
My son wouldn't either. It's like
I was that, but I can't do it with this. There's things I cannot do physically.
I mean, just playing Warehouse, and I wanted him to. No, because if you carry on, you'll see bigger. Like the Warehouse is a great starting level, but once you get to school and the mall,
some of the levels are.
But then he started on Mall, and he was like, okay, that was 25 minutes just on Mall. He's like, well, no, I want to get the score ones. Then I'm going to get Skate, and then I'll like, yeah, man, he gets it.
I spent far too long trying to find the bloody bells on school.
School's great.
I can't find the fifth bell. I've been.
I'll have to show you. That annoyed me. I found it by accident, and then I couldn't actually grind it. Anyway, we're digressing. But I had the same feeling as you on the competition. I literally rocked up to that. It kept flashing at me because I was on school for so long. It went, get a gold medal or whatever, or get a medal, and you can unlock the next one. I'm like, I am going to nail this. I am so good. I used to be brilliant. Got it. Thought I'd done really well. Silver. Tried again. Silver. Tried again. Silver. I was like, what's happening here? I was getting so angry with myself, and I'm just playing against myself, and I was getting so angry. And then I'm not going to brag. I got a 99.9 on one of the rounds, and I thought I was a god. I literally nailed everything, and that was enough to get me gold. But it must have taken longer than I wanted to do it. I was quite disappointed in myself.
I don't want to because I think I said this last week, but I want to say it again because it's still just stuck in my head every time I think about this. This is It's not like, it's the best remake has ever been made. It's probably one of them. Actually, it probably is one of them. But other game like, the Shadow of Colossus remake was, again, a lesson. But this is a lesson in how you remake a game with care and due attention. And like, they got it wrong when they did it. Because this is not the first time they've remade these games. Well, the first one. No, they think they did the first two. I can't remember when they did it on Xbox 360, but it was not great. This is a lesson in game feel. This is a lesson in giving someone a controller, and it just feels so damn right. And I'm not going to keep on about it because I know I went on last week about that, but just picking it up, I haven't had not a lot of time to play things that I can talk about on this podcast this week. Picking that up again just to get a little bit, where I didn't want to sit down and play Wasteland because more of a time constraint, time issue. This feels so damn good. And I'm telling you now, I know we have a category at the end of the year for like best remake or whatever, but I'm telling you now, I think this makes our top 10 at the end of the year, and I will be very shocked if it doesn't.
I'd agree, absolutely.
Because remake or not, this is so good.
After enough time has passed, like I know you say it's like the Final Fantasy VII remake. I know I've got to digress too much, but saying that, like enough time has passed, I think. Where it's like, it's a new game. And I know Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 isn't. It is very much that game, those two games remade now. But there's a lot of people that would...
It's not because they added stuff from the later games, like the wall bounce and the... What's the other thing they added? There's another thing they added. I can't think. It's not. Is it? I forget what you call it. When you land and you can hit a trigger to spin round. Was that not one from the later games?
I think that was. I don't know because I didn't play 1 and 2.
There was definitely two things.
Jump, and I think maybe the wall grind is
wall grind. It's the wall grind that was from the later games.
Is newer as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, that's
so,
from 3 or 4.
These games are they're coming to. It's a whole new generation of people. It's several console generations since. It's just a release now. And I know it is a remake. It is a remaster. They were out before, but it's a completely different thing, really.
Well, let's we've got some. Let's say we are going to do news this week, so we won't take too long on this. And then because Mick's the only one who's played. Well, I've played it before, but Spellbreak is out now.
I think it's out now. Yeah,
because I played it in early access, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't dismiss it because it felt good. It's another game that actually had good game feel. On PC, it was on the Epic Store, and their early access, and it felt kind of like Fortnite, but for wizards.
It's a Fortnite, yeah. It's got a Fortnite,
but it wasn't. I don't mean
on,
that dismissively, by the way.
No,
I don't mean that. Oh,
it doesn't. It's not in any way a clone. It doesn't.
No,
feel
there's
like
no
that,
building
no.
or shit like that in it. It's just it is a battle royale, but wizards, right?
Yeah, I mean these games are up against it, right? Let's be honest. I mean, how many of them come out and then just disappear? You know, I mean, things like even like I said to you, I think I was talking to you earlier. Rogue Company seems to have
that was good, wasn't it?
It's really good, and it just seems to have quietened right down. All the games that they tried to release, like Gigantic and Battleborn, and
what's the one that came to PC and Xbox that they made a big fuss about? My son mentioned this one to me. He goes, "Oh yeah, that game just came and no one plays it now." Darwin Project. The Darwin Project. Again, not bad at all.
No, I think,
yeah, did you hear that EA dropped the price on that to a $5?
They dropped the price to like a $5 because no one's playing it, and they're not bad games.
No,
but this is not even. It's not even because the genre's crowded. It's because you've got a couple of giants in that genre that you just don't make time for other games.
Yep.
If you're trying to grind Fortnite out, or you're on Call of Duty or whatever you're playing, the battle royale game of choice, you haven't got time for another one. And I don't feel like all the gimmicks in the world, all like Spellbreak's got tons of new ideas. It's got tons of new ideas, but so's Rocket Arena. So did what was the game I previewed? I played the hell out of it for the Cycle. Don't know if you remember me talking about that for a little while.
The Cycle's another one. What was the one that Amazon put out that they then put back into beta?
Crucible. Yeah, they took it. They unreleased it.
Unreleased it.
And I mean, these games, they have tons of ideas. They've got innovation in there, and they walk into this room where you've got these giants, and Titans. They just can't. Exactly. And I think, and like I said to you, I hope Spellbreak lasts, because it's very rare that I pick up one of these games. Like, I really like Rogue Company. I really, really, really like the Cycle. If that comes to console, I think it could do well because it's very different in feel. But Spellbreak,
Dauntless is another one, but that one actually does do all right.
Well, yeah, Dauntless does fine because that's more
kind Monster
of
Hunter,
like,
isn't it?
I like Dauntless. That was good.
I've never played it. I don't know if
Dauntless. It's basically like a slightly more arcadey. It's no less complex, but it's slightly more arcadey version of Monster Hunter. It's kind of Monster Hunter X Fortnite, like the way they do Dauntless.
Okay.
It's actually fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not many of these games that I'll pick up and I'm just hooked. Like I was with the Cycle, I was with Dauntless. I put about 90 hours into Dauntless before I had to move on to the things. And I keep going back now and then. Actually, that's just had a big overhaul. Dauntless. It's got another one coming, I think.
But like Spellbreak is.
But Spellbreak is one of those games. I picked it up. I thought, I thought I'll have a go, and I didn't know it'd been out. I didn't know it'd been in early access. I think you told me it'd been in early access for ages. You say something like 9 months or something. It's spent so far.
I can't remember, man. I'm gonna actually check my email because I remember getting an email saying it was like it had been added to my library basically, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. You carry on. I'm going to see if I can find it.
The thing about it is,
Spellbrand. That's going to help.
But I think the thing I like about it, or the thing I found really accessible, is
okay, I found it.
Okay.
Have a guess.
2018.
No, you've gone too far.
February.
Well, anything I say is going to sound weird.
I'll give you this. It's February.
Oh, really?
Wow.
February 2019.
2019. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Wow.
So that was the alpha. Closed alpha. That.
See, I mean, it's had 2 years since then.
Wow.
Near enough, or 1.5 years since then, and it's really, really playable. I mean that sounds like bullshit, doesn't it? But it's really playable. Like I jumped into it.
Do you know?
It's crossplay. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting, Chris, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
It's free to play.
It's a lot of fun. It's three player squads.
3 players, and how many people are on this pod?
No, that's too much maths.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But yeah, so it's 3. I think it's 3 player squads, but it's really cool. Like Adam will know, so I'll just give you just a brief rundown for the people who don't know or haven't played this and are thinking maybe they should try it, because it's kind of like, so you've got like a wizard basically, and it kind of sets it up as if you're student wizards in like an academy, and this is like training. That feels like what the backstory is. It doesn't really say anything, but they're all called, like the starter classes are called stuff like pupil or student or whatever.
See, everything you're saying right now, that's new to me.
Yeah, so you've got 6 gauntlets. Right, and you get to pick this at the beginning of a match. You pick your gauntlet, and your gauntlet is an element. So you'll have stone, fire, wind, electricity, poison. What's the last one?
See. Now I'm wondering if I
Ice.
even played the same. This is definitely the same game, because
Ice.
everything you're saying is brand new to me. This
Yeah,
was like it even had a Fortnite. You know the way you play Fortnite? It's got the hopper. You're there. There's your character. You go. I remember it being like that, and it's just you
That's
jump,
what it
you
is,
drop into
yeah.
a battle royale. But all
You
the
all
stuff you're
start
talking
off-
about is like
Yeah, you all start off in a bit with everybody's just hitting each other, but it's not really doing anything and picking at weapons.
Okay,
And then you dive in, you airdrop in, you teleport
from a
you pick
broom
a landing
or...
zone. No, you just drop in.
Okay.
And you land, and then, like I said, you've got one of 6 elements, and that's your gauntlet. That never changes. So that's your right hand.
Okay.
And then as you play, you've got like...
okay. No, I do remember this now.
And then you'll pick up a second gauntlet, and that gauntlet will be either the same element or a different one. And then they kind of synergize. So, like, you can drop a cloud of poison and hit it with fire to make an explosion and things like that.
That's right, yeah.
Which is quite cool.
And they said that they're working on more of that, actually, as well.
Yeah, and it's really cool to do it. And when because you don't know, because it doesn't really tell you anything, when you do that accidentally and something really cool happens, it's quite a good feeling. And then... but it's really straightforward. Like, the map is probably a bit big, because I've noticed that we've only been getting like 40 odd players.
How many is it?
I don't know. It's probably either... Well, it's in groups of 3, so
out.
I'm not sure what the match is. But I've noticed it sort of sits around the 40 mark. And so the maps feel a little bit too big. Like, you can go quite a while before you meet anybody else. But you've got a storm circle, and it doesn't even
42 players.
Oh, it is 42, so that's why...
That doesn't make sense if their teams are 3, does it? Oh dear, too much
no,
maths.
that is too much
maths. Maths.
That's 14. 14 teams
42 divided by 3. He's not Googling. No, it's fine.
14.
Yeah, no, Chris. Chris, no, sorry, hang on. It's 14. I got it.
Okay, thanks.
sorry, Chris.
Yeah, so
my
you...
maths degree to one side.
Have you got a maths degree?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck the games. What?
Sorry, yeah.
Let's
talk about me for the next half an hour.
Spellbreak.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm honest, I think Chris and I should play this, and we should talk about this as we should play a 3.
The whole
have a
gauntlet
three-way.
thing sounds cool. I quite like the whole mix and match.
Tell you
thing.
what,
Like,
if we can get
good.
something, if we can get some this weekend, guys, it's a great game to jump into, because it is fun.
You mean last weekend, Mick?
I mean last weekend, through the magic of
too much maths.
through the magic of podcast time travel.
Too much maths.
Well, Chris has got a degree; he can do quantum physics.
He got quantum. Should we just get to the? Should we get? Look, I'm not cutting you off here, Mick, but I keep staring at this and I'm dying to talk about it. Should we just cut?
Oh no, go on.
Because we haven't done
go
news for like probably.
We can talk about Spellbreak when we've played it.
Okay, and listen, let's do some news then. Let's get into news. Okay, right. Okay, and this is the biggest news probably all year, man. Like, this is like kind of fucking whoa,
yeah.
And it is that No More Heroes 3 has been delayed due to COVID-19, lads.
I've never played No More Heroes.
Yeah,
So let's move on. No,
I didn't even know this, but yeah, I mean, it's understandable, I guess.
So you've never played No More Heroes, but Chris,
I have. I played the first one and a bit of the second one.
And where do you?
On the Wii first. I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't just on the Wii, was it? It was on PlayStation.
The only game I remember from the Wii was
I don't know if
fucking
it
Mad
did ever
World.
go over, but it certainly was.
I
first
definitely
on the Wii.
remember seeing like a promo disc at some point for a PlayStation game.
It might have got transported over, but
maybe.
it was Wii first. It was.
Because it was motion controls. Because you used to.
Yeah.
It was no. I'm not even trying to be. That was literally one of the things that you had to do. I mean, this is a visual gag, but you had
it was. That's literally.
Chris,
what
I'll tell you what. I'll do it, and Chris, if
You do
could
the sound effects.
If you could describe, I'll tell you what, Chris, if you could describe, this is going to either be the best moment in all of podcasting, or the worst
He's
ever.
not briefed me on this, so I have no idea.
I'm going to do the motion. Okay, Chris is going to describe what is happening. Mick, if you can just back off your mic slightly because it's going to be loud. You need to make the sound effects. Okay, and bear in mind Mick hasn't played this, so we're going to go on 3. This is, I mean, if you're watching it, it's probably not quite as exciting, but listening to it, this is going to be some hot, spicy maths. So you would be holding your sword, and then you would have to go
Oh, Chris's mum. Oh.
Oh, don't take
Yeah,
that.
didn't he
Carlos.
have to like charge it up
He
or
had to
something?
charge
like
his
this? Like,
sword by essentially masturbating a
really,
Wiimote.
yeah.
Chris, don't do.
Oh, I
Chris,
charge my sword.
no, hang on, Mick. I just need to give Chris a little bit of a tip about being on camera. If you're going to do that motion you just did, you need to make sure your hand's visible on screen. That's why I started quite high up. I'm not.
Yeah, because if you're just doing this,
I mean, I'm
that's
well
a different
endowed, mate,
webcam.
but I'm not that well endowed that it comes to my chin. But if you
I've
then
heard
take, I mean,
different.
if you watch Chris, what I'm doing now, if I then take that off screen, that suddenly looks really bad, and you just did this, and I've done that twice in the last few months now on camera. That's it. Yes, you lot. You don't pay enough for that. No one pays enough for that. It's not an OnlyFans.
Both hands.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, but you basically had to vigorously. I'd say
Wank your sword
violently.
off is what you're saying. Yeah.
But it's been delayed.
Wanker.
It's been delayed. Yeah, it's been delayed to. They want to do it next year. This Suda51 himself went on Twitter and said basically, yeah, COVID, and it's not the first game, and it probably won't be the last game. I was thinking about this today, right? I was thinking, what did I see? There's Wonder Woman that's been indefinitely postponed or something.
What's it? Wonder Woman
1884, is it, or 1980? I don't
1984. Oh,
yeah, that's
couldn't
been
imagine
basically
giving less of a shit. To be honest,
but lots of people do care, and that's basically
of course
been
they do.
indefinitely put off. That's there's no date. It's just not happening at the moment because
they did
of
that
COVID.
with Tenet though, didn't they? Then they released it like 3 weeks later.
But yeah, they're not going to with this one, I don't think. But what I was saying is there going to come a point in about 6 to 12 months where nothing comes out for anyone because games
I fucking
are
hope so.
still
I can catch up with some of the backlog.
No, man, games are still happening,
Monster Hunter
but they
again.
are also getting delayed now.
That's what I'll do. Yeah, backlog now.
I don't know. I was thinking about that, but
I mean, I think, there will be.
indie games will still come out, right? Cause
Yeah, I guess that's what maybe they're trying to pace stuff. I guess because they're trying to avoid that
potentially.
But there has to become a big impact at some point. I guess.
I mean, the idea of having to constantly upload and download builds of these enormous games before they've compressed assets down to fit onto a disc or a download is just a logistical nightmare. So fair play, that has been delayed. I joke about that being the big news. We will get to the big news, but let's talk about the other big news this week, which was Ubisoft Forward at the end of last week, I should say, Thursday last week. They did another one of their Ubisoft Forwards where it already leaked that Gods and Monsters is now called. It's a fucking bad name.
Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Phoenix Rising, but Phoenix
What a
spelled
load of
FENYX. That's a bad video game name, and I've seen
Why
some
do they
bad
do
games.
this? Why do they do these titles? I mean, what was wrong with Gods and Monsters?
I can only assume
I
Gods and
hope
Monsters is copyrighted elsewhere because I'm sure I've heard that before somewhere.
Yeah, that sounds quite common. I just assume that Phoenix is like the central god or monster.
You are,
Otherwise,
from what I
why would you?
understand, playing someone who acts out the will of the gods. But there's been
Looks a
some
bit like
hands-on
Link.
previews, and basically it sounds like it's not so much a homage to Breath of the Wild, but Breath of the Wild. I haven't played it, so I can't comment. But I'm
Homage is a
torn.
bullshit word.
Yeah, well, but like this, that's more Breath of the Wild isn't bad.
We copied it, but don't say that.
Well, this is it. Riders Republic, which I haven't had a chance to have a catch up on yet, so I don't know. But I
missed Ubi Forward. Was there anything good? Was there anything that
Prince
because I
of
didn't
Persia,
see it?
the Sands of Time is
Why
being
are they
remade
remaking that?
because
like,
they want to see if
Prince
people
of...
will buy it, so they can make more
Yeah.
Prince of
Make another one.
Persias. Yeah.
I think if they just made more Prince of Persia games, people would buy those.
Well, this
games.
is a remake, not a re-up. This is the same game but remade with better. Well,
It's just going to be retextured, isn't it? Like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't look great.
What was the one that was really watercolory anyway and was really visually stylish? It was like cell shaded. What was that? And you had you and
She rewound time.
I'm gonna have to Google it.
Yeah,
I've got a question
I
on
own
this
that.
one.
Yeah, go on.
I got a question on this one. So, like, how interested are people? Because I feel like interested is the word I use, not excited when I think.
I
about
really
this.
like that original game, and I would not
I
be
did.
against playing it. But I think
I really like all of the Prince of Persia games.
Yes.
I'm a massive Prince of Persia fan. I've wanted more Prince of Persia. I even liked the one with that people didn't like, the one that went really actiony.
But
with the monster that chased you. I can't remember.
But the problem is, man, there's a lot of Prince of Persia Sands of Time in terms of the movement that kind of was like almost prototypical Assassin's Creed. And Ubisoft already have a problem with their games kind of borrowing mechanics and merging. I don't know. I think it needed to look better than this does. like this does not look like, to me, having played Avengers, even Tony Hawk, this does not look like a modern. This does not look like. So this game's coming out next year, right?
Mm.
This does not look like a game that is going to come out during the era of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I just...
I wasn't...
It was just called Prince of Persia.
Yes, it was,
It was
the reboot.
In 2008.
It was the third
Not
reboot.
to be confused with the other Prince of Persia from
where he had the claw and... Yeah. Sorry. Carry on.
So, I mean, we can move on to other Ubisoft stuff. This
Splinter
is a
Cell.
weird
Where
one.
the fuck is Splinter Cell, Ubisoft?
It's not there. So there's a game called Agos, a game of space. Hang on. Is it called Agos or a game of space? Because I've just noticed
Agos,
it's an
a game of space.
But Agos is an acronym for a game of space.
It's really clever.
Is it a space game?
I haven't had a chance to catch up on this one.
I don't know what that is. Is it a game of... Or you just have space? Are you just moving your
whack
furniture?
The space bar. See, Chris, again, hands on camera. Otherwise it would look weird.
Whack the space bar.
Siege is coming to next gen. Of course it is, and they said I did catch up on that bit, and they said basically like we're not done. We've got years to come, and do you know what?
And good because I'm glad they're
supporting
that. It has a bit of a up and down community, but it's
still a brilliant game though. It is a brilliant game.
It is a brilliant game. Yeah.
Arguably the biggest news, it came out before Ubisoft Forward that Skull and Bones has been delayed into next year as well, by the way, with a new vision, whatever that means.
Yeah. That means they're going like Sea of Thieves, I guess.
Well, I would imagine so. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Do you remember it? Did you play it?
I didn't play it. I didn't like the film, though. A lot of people do.
Wow. You are dead inside, aren't you? They always told me that, Mick, but...
I couldn't get on with it.
The film was all right. I've not played the game, and the film was all right.
So the game was on my radar, and I liked it because I love that genre, because it's the Streets of Rage beat 'em up that they don't make any more of. And even back then, they didn't make them then. There was... So people make a massive fuss about this game, and so Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Complete Edition is coming out, and the reason this is a big deal is because there was some sort of messed up licensing stuff where Ubisoft had the license to the game, but also couldn't publish it anymore again, and it got taken off. It was gone, and now obviously it's like, yeah, we're bringing it back, and it's like, yeah, cool, but like Streets of Rage 4 come out this year, and like, also, just for the record. Good game, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Actually, good game. Really sort of true to the movie and that, and it is enjoyable. Go play Castle Crashers. That is also a phenomenal game, and one of those that there wasn't many of. Streets of Rage 4 came out this year, lads. Let's maybe do a best of. Let's do an award at the end of the year for the best beat 'em up. Streets of Rage is going to win that one. It's not going to be Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I'm sorry. Good game. But you know what? There are other ones like the Dishwasher. Do you remember them?
Dishwasher Dead Samurai.
Before they made Salt and Sanctuary, wasn't it? That's the same team, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and they made the Dishwasher. They made another one as well, Charlie Murder.
Yeah.
They were, again, people were making them, so it's a bit
I don't know where they've gone. Every now and again, I see that they'll tweet something or put something on Facebook. Was it Scar Studios did Battletoads? Yeah, because Salt and Sanctuary was very popular. It sold on pretty much every system going.
I don't think it did that well.
Didn't it? Because it was such a good
compared to
game.
How good it was, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
they tried.
Yes, on Switch.
Yeah. They released it on... I'm almost 100%
I would say we would have reviewed it if it was on Switch. I would say Gary
we did review it. I think Gary Bailey reviewed it.
Okay, so that's Ubisoft Forward. Like I said, there's not a huge amount to say. They showed Watch Dogs Legion again, but that's out next month. Still feel very conflicted about Watch Dogs Legion because I really like Watch Dogs 2. Really didn't like Watch Dogs. This feels like they're trying to match the two up, and I'm not sure about that.
I think they felt the first Watch Dogs wasn't very good. I didn't think
it was fine for me personally. But it was
an all right game. It was an all right game. They did quite well with the world. Some of it was interesting. I didn't like the main character. I thought he was a completely unlikable dick.
And that's the other thing. What did they announce? Aidan Pierce is coming to something. Watch Dogs. It's Watch Dogs. Yeah, they're like, they showed Stormzy doing the Stormzy thing, and they're like, and also Aidan Pierce is coming. It's like, that's not.
And everyone just went,
good thing.
Why do we care?
But Watch Dogs.
The best thing about him was his cool hat and coats.
Yeah,
just dressing the dude up.
But Watch Dogs Legion is trying to me to sort of be ultra realistic, and
that spider tank game was really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's trying to be sort of ultra realistic, but also kind of comedic, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how that lands.
See, that's why I like Watch Dogs 2.
Same.
I think they did better with Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
Well, they just went, let's just have fun.
Yeah. Let's move on to the biggest news then. Let's. We know we're recording this quite late, and I was hoping that a rumour I'd heard would break, but it hasn't. So we're going to have to talk about just Xbox right now. Xbox Series X and S. I mean, last week, what a week for Microsoft. What a week. You know, the worst kept secret in gaming, the X Series S. Go on, Chris.
Well, I look like a right knob now, don't I? Because I confidently said
yes,
on the
we
podcast
both did. It was really bad.
Ago, that they're definitely not going to launch the S and at the same time as the X.
Well, mate,
I said
I was confident about prices.
A lot of people were wrong.
And
they took a lot of people by surprise with all of this, and they really did.
I mean, we'll get straight into it. Those prices are astounding.
They are, but there's issues. There's issues with that S.
£449 is still a lot of money, man.
Not for what is inside that box.
It's still high.
Not for what's inside that box.
Was always going to be that X was always going to be 500. I thought that was
I thought
just
6.
in my mind. So to come out of 449, and then
I have a question actually. Sorry,
okay.
And you guys are better at this than me. You know more about this stuff than me. So this is This is me being a layman and not knowing these things. So right, you got the Xbox Series X, right? That does. This is the big one, okay? That does all the shit. That's going to be ready for, like they've said, for 2 years, you're going to be able to play everything that we release on these other consoles, right?
Yes.
After 2 years, though, presumably there's going to be games that are built entirely for the Xbox Series X. Like these are going to be, or for a high-end PC. These are going to be. Are they not? See, this is what I'm saying. So
they can't. That's not how development works.
So
you build to the lowest. If you build to the lowest spec and then you upscale from there, which means, and this is the issue.
So in that respect, is that going to hold it back?
Yes, it
is. This is what my question was.
And,
then the S going to hold back the X? Because PS5 are going to be able to go, this is just for a PS5, so we can put all these bells and whistles in it. So, if the Xbox Series X, games for that are always going to have to take into account.
Yes.
It's like having a younger person in the car with you. You've always got to go slower. Because, do you know what I mean? It's like
moderate the language. Yes.
So that's my question.
The answer is yes to a degree. The answer is yes in specific cases. In terms of multi-format games, like an Assassin's Creed Valhalla or a Watch Dogs Legion, just because they're launch day games. In theory, no. They will just look better on the X and run well. See, this is my biggest problem with all of this, and we'll get to the more detail-oriented stuff. My biggest problem with all of this is that people talk about 4K and now fucking ridiculously 8K like it's a real thing. Like, yes, a resolution of 8K exists. There's absolutely no content available for it. There will be specific made videos that are like, look, use this, FMPEG or whatever file to show off your 8K resolution telly. But there is nobody broadcasting 8K resolution. Fucking honestly, 4K is still very early in terms of adoption. You can buy 4K Blu-rays. They're way more expensive. You can get 4K signals. Like the telly behind me, I can watch 4K sport on it. I can watch. There's not a lot of channels in the UK. I can't speak for other countries. Don't know. And the thing about that is as well is there is talking about 8K is just utter marketing bullshit, because I've got a 55-inch telly behind me and a sofa in front of it, and if I was sat there, I don't think I could tell the difference between 4K and 8K. That is a very big jump in terms of pixels on the screen, but like the S is going to do 1440p, which is kind of halfway almost, I suppose. Well, not quite halfway, but you will not see it unless you have got I would say 75-inch telly and are sat close to it. You will not see it. Technically, you want to get pixel count in, that will be there. It will be real. There will be more pixels on the screen. You won't be able to see it. You will be able to see a frame rate difference. But even then, and I'm looking right now at you guys on a 240 hertz monitor. Once you get to the 120 sort of area, Chris is moving about. Once you get to 120, you don't see it. I'm sorry.
See, I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. And I see a lot of people on Twitter. I hear it from an awful lot of people who say, I don't really notice frame rate. Like, fair enough, they're going to notice it when it tanks. You're going to notice it when it gets lower than a certain threshold and things are starting to... But I mean, a lot of people will tell you, and honestly, I see this a lot, they can't really tell the difference between 30 and 60, especially more casual.
It is such a big difference.
And I can see the difference.
It is literally double the frames.
But there are people, I'm just saying, I've seen people say, or even people who are saying, I don't really care that it goes above 30.
Okay, now I don't care is a different argument. That's fine.
See, now I used to say this until I started playing on the PC. Till I got the PC, I was playing games like Destiny 2.
Whenever you review a game on a PlayStation or an Xbox,
now, what do you notice? It's very noticeable
straight away.
Yeah, right. But it is very noticeable. It's like I said to you, I put Destiny 2 on for the first time on PC at 60 FPS, and I was like, "Fucking hell, that's me, boys, for the rest of the night." Yeah, and absolutely. I really like it. But I'm just saying, there are some people that are probably less concerned.
So the bottleneck, the bottleneck for the S then is RAM based, and
isn't it launching with like 500 gig of memory?
That's storage. So it's got half a
terabyte. I'm just saying, not on about RAM, on about storage. But that's like
half a terabyte.
Fuck all, isn't it?
But how many people?
That's the kicker for me.
Because I had this conversation.
Because if it's digital only, and you've got
to download games.
Mate, look at games like Destiny 2's like 90-something gig.
But what I would say,
you get 3.5 games on a 500 gig hard drive.
But that is a very much games media problem. How many people do you know who don't actually play every game and often don't have to pay for them that have 20 games installed?
I think there's a difference though, isn't there?
That's fair.
I think games aren't going to get smaller, and games are already at 100. Now,
but man, I would go the other way with this. I would say I get where you're coming from, but I would also say that 1 terabyte for the X, which is a console that is running at 4K 60, is nowhere near enough, because you will have to have exponentially larger textures, because they are exponentially larger textures. Whereas, yes, you're still. I think most people are going to end up with that S playing 1080 60, and I think most people are going to be very happy because what they think they're seeing is more resolution. Because I don't think the people watching and listening to this know what this all means. The people who are going to go into game and buy an S for little Johnny at Christmas, have no idea, and it is all marketing and it's all buzzwords. What we should say as well, because it's an important part of this whole thing, is that I think the best thing about all of this news, the prices, the release dates, November 10th, £250 or $299, $499 or $450. Quickly mention, by the way, thank you, Microsoft, and I mean this, for not going, it's $499, so that's £499. Yeah. Thank you, because to me, that seems like Xbox have finally gone, actually, the UK's a fucking huge market.
Yeah.
Maybe we
stop
should pay a bit more attention.
Stop hitting us with the fucking VAT.
Stop nailing us with a direct conversion. But the most important thing for this, and I think this is the key thing, first of all, they've rolled EA's, what's called EA Play now, into Game Pass, right?
It's quite amazing.
That is incredible. But what I would have grown up as calling on Tick or HP or Layaway, that All Access it's called, is a phenomenal deal where you don't pay. Like if you for those out you watching or listening with mortgages, and you know that you're paying, your house is worth this, but you're going to pay way more than it by the end, or if you've got a car on loan that you're going to be ended up paying like 15 grand for, that the ticket price was 8 because of interest. These deals are amazing. You were going to, I think was it $29.99 for the X? Ish,
something like that. It was
I forget the exact figures, but that gets you the X, that gets you Game Pass, that gets you EA Pass rolled into it. Times are tough, and I personally couldn't just go and spend £450 on a console right now, but I might be able to pay an interest-free £30 a month, considering that I don't need to actually go and buy a game again. I mean, that's not technically true. There are games, you're not going to get Valhalla or Cyberpunk in Game Pass on day one, but generally speaking,
it's a good starter option. And
I've seen a lot of arguments for people saying, you don't own these games. This is the thing that.
But you do, because Xbox aren't going to take first-party games out of there.
No, they're not going to. But
no, because you were saying, so you think it's a starter option.
Well, no, okay, so no. What I was going to say, I think it's a good starter option. I think you mentioned
just poured the drink down myself. Sorry,
parents with like younger kids and families. There's going to be loads of these under the tree at Christmas. I think because it's a much more
S's or X's.
Option.
Do you say
S's?
What's that?
S. Yeah, I think
there'll be more S's sold.
A phenomenal seller.
But I also think that there are people that were going to wait and not jump into next gen in November.
And Lyle was one, wasn't he? Lyle was one. He was like, I'm having that.
There's loads of people I know. Some people I know can't wait for certain announcements, but other people are like, I'm going to wait for a year next year and get it. They might be persuaded with £250 or like you say, an interest-free monthly option as well. And
I said if I didn't have the PC, I'd be lining up.
What?
I'd be going for the S.
last
first, I
week
think.
when we were talking about it, I don't
Yes.
think either of us would have said
No.
there could be a chance that a lot of Xboxes are going to be sold between now and Christmas. And now
Well,
I think
It's cheaper than the Switch was at launch, wasn't it? Wasn't that
Yeah.
$2.99?
Yeah.
So the S
Which is
With Game
incredible,
Pass.
really.
with Game Pass,
it's incredible.
you could, because you have Switch. And that's the other thing is, you know, right? People
It's
might
a
go,
phenomenally
but
good deal. It is.
$249.99 is I can probably swing that. But I would say to you, I get it, but why don't you just put that $2.99 in the bank account and pay 25 quid a month and get Game Pass as well?
Yeah, I mean you could. Yeah,
Because it's interest free, isn't it?
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
I don't see the, if you're going to drop $2.50 on it, why not just say, right, I'm going to do that, but I'm actually just going to put it in the bank. That's
Get the
gone.
interest
It's done.
And the interest at 0.1% these days. But yeah, I take your point.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, with it's interest free. Yeah. But so I did not see that coming at all.
Are you getting one, Chris?
I'm gonna get an X. I think
You are going to get in it because I know you were also you're in that thing where you kind of want to sort your PC as well.
Yeah.
Does this change that? Does this? Because I must admit I was all like, just you need to guys go and get a better PC. Everyone should get a better PC.
Yeah.
That X is that's a
I kind
good
of think
price.
X now.
Really?
I know we talked about it, but the more I think about it,
My only concern, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Microsoft sent out like mock sort of prototypey models to some media that are like they're just empty shells, but the box is the box. Have you seen any of this? I really wish they'd sent them because I want to know if I can. Because again, and I haven't done this for a long time, but I almost sat down and just bashed out a feature. I ran out of time today. The Switch has a lot to answer for this box, right? Because everyone was mentioning, oh yeah, that thing's not fitting under my telly, and the same for the PS5. The Switch is the one that started all this. When did it become okay for consoles to not go in your entertainment unit? It was the Switch.
Yeah, because you have to take it out.
Switch.
Yeah,
you had to be able to lift it out, and now, and it's almost like Xbox and Sony both went, well, if they can do that, then we can build a fucking monolith black tower that's going to... I don't...
Although the S probably does fit in your TV unit, right?
The S might.
Yeah.
Yes,
You say that.
The S will go where my Xbox is, to be
You
honest.
say that, but is that not a vent on the top?
I stand mine up anyway, which I know drives
I'm
some
saying that
people
big
crazy.
thing that everyone took the piss out of is a vent, right?
Oh, yeah, the McDonald's server.
So I would argue, I would argue that you wouldn't want, and that must be the largest exhaust vent.
You don't want
it going
you don't
there
want a unit
where it's going to sit and heat up. That's because,
true.
looking like if you can't quite, I don't think you can quite see behind me, but I'll move to the side. Hang on. So you sort of just under the telly again, like that is gonna.
You'd have to put it in one of those box-shaped ones.
That's what I'm wondering is if I can fit an X in there.
Yeah.
And I don't
you
think
can't
I
fit
can.
an X in there.
No, I don't think
Barely
so.
fit an X
It's
in
a
your
PC
entire
tower.
shed, mate.
Yeah.
See, I don't think I'll ever get an X. Like I can't see myself getting one. I might, and this is because my old Xbox One's pretty knackered now. The kids have had it for a while. I've had it since a year after launch.
Xbox One or Xbox One?
Yeah, Xbox One. No,
Launch
Xbox One.
the black machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I bought it about a year after launch, and I've had it, and it's still running. Touch wood, still going. It's under the telly now. It's getting a bit dusty. The kids are using it. So I'm looking at the Xbox Series S now and thinking...
You nearly said Xbox One S then. You nearly did. I saw you go, the Xbox One...
So I'm looking at...
That is a problem, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
People are taking
so I'm looking at
that's
this,
a problem.
I'm looking at the Series S, wondering if I'm going to buy that for me, and then the kids can have my Xbox One X, right? And because eventually that old Xbox One's going to be knackered. So I think there's a very good chance, up for 250 quid, there's a very good chance that at some point I'm going to buy the S for me.
I'm telling you now, if I'm Microsoft, I'm talking to every single retailer in the countries that they are marketing to, and I'm saying, when these things come in, you have to discount S and X, get them out of your store, and I don't care if you've got stock left over. When this is available, it is the only thing you sell, because I'm telling you now, if someone's going to go in that shop and say, can I have an Xbox S? Which one do you want?
Yeah.
It's truly strange. What do we think of the launch lineup? We should talk about the games. I mean, Dirt 5 looks good. Gears
See,
Tactics
this is
is
another
good.
thing,
Gears
though.
Tactics is good. There's no, people are going to go, it's out on PC. It is. It's still a fucking good game.
It's a brilliant game. And is it on Xbox yet at all?
No, this is going to launch on Series X.
Well, then if you haven't got a PC, that's a good launch.
That's a great game. And you won't have to pay for it, Nick. Game Pass.
Yeah.
I
That's
wonder.
I would champion that as a good launch.
That's what I'm saying.
A fucking phenomenal game.
But it is quite niche.
Of course it is. It's tactical.
Yeah, if you
turn-based.
like that kind of game, which
I find it more
I do,
accessible. I find it to be one of the most accessible of
Don't
those
know.
games.
I wouldn't.
think.
I'm not sure I'd agree with you there, mate.
I think.
found
Well,
that
maybe it's
quite
just
complex.
I mean, although I came off the back of a lot of those games when I
You were
reviewed
playing
it,
a
so
lot of
maybe
them.
I just found it a little.
It's
bit
not a
easier, but-
Wasteland 3 or anything. Don't get me wrong. You got that. You got Dirt 5. You got. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has been brought forward to coincide with the launch. You'll have Watch Dogs available. I'm forgetting now. There was another game. They've got games. I don't know. I'm excited to. I want to see what this thing can do because I feel like they've kind of shown everything there is to show now. We know how much. We know when. We know what's going to be on it. There will probably be more games announced that move around to coincide with it. I think Cyberpunk will be moved forward because the amount of delays they've had, what a good news story it would be for them to say, we're actually bringing it forward to November the 10th, and guess what? Guess what? I think that will come forward. I want to see what this thing can do. I've got a decent PC. It's not got a Titan in it or anything, but it's a good PC that can run games very nicely. I want to see what this thing can do because I will be the first to say, go get it if that's the case. I'm very intrigued. I will be interested because Microsoft do tend, well, like they all do. They tend to send their review units out to review these. I would really like to hope that they send both because I would love to be proven wrong and on this telly behind me, literally have my account on both Series S and a Series X, right, and run a game, and then just turn it off and switch the channel over to that same game running and be able to go, oh, but no, you can definitely see the 4K-ness on the television. Because
please do a video in that accent.
In that
as well.
accent.
That'd be
Well, of
great.
course, Professor Cook, he's got to look at the study of the thing. But
Very,
that telly
very
is a decent telly. Like, I saved up for that telly. I really, really wanted that telly. It was one of those ones that was like, there's only one better, but it was like £1,000 more. I was like, well, I'm not happening. But no, I would love nothing more than to be able to measure those against one another like that and go, because the other thing that's come out since is that apparently because of the RAM in the Series S, a lot of developers are now taking to Twitter and going, yeah, we're kind of worried this is a bottleneck. Like there's some
I've
weirdness
seen that
with,
a lot today. Yeah,
there's some
Been
weirdness
reading
with
a
how
few.
back compatibility games will run due to the RAM. I can't get into that because I don't know the facts, but I said this in our Discord, and I mean it. Like, this is a real good feel-good moment for Xbox, who I felt was slightly tailing off. If they just had those games, man. If they just had them
See,
ready
I'm-
If we
now,
had Halo, could you
it would
imagine?
have been one of the best console launches, man. I don't believe anyone genuinely thought, nah, it won't be. It'd be 400 and 4.5. Be 4.5. Chris, we were here last week saying it. I listened to the podcast. I said 599.
I listened
And
to
I
it
was
back just to see
sure
how
of
wrong
that.
we were.
Oh,
and
we were
Okay.
totally
it was
wrong.
terrible. We were
What are
terrible.
Sony going to do? Like, in your opinion?
Well, I was going
Because
to
I'm
get
glad-
to this.
See, I'm glad that they haven't jumped because everyone went, "Well, your move, Sony."
I tell you what, mate, they can't because they were going to come in higher, and now they won't.
and
So
now
let me-
there's
let
a
me turn
bunch of
this back on
Sony
you.
guys with calculators now.
No, there's no calculators involved. There is someone who was saying we match it, and then someone going, but we'll lose so much. And he goes, don't fucking care. So Sony in terms of the gaming side, that is currently the most profitable part of Sony now. I don't know if you guys knew this. That is the most profitable division of Sony is the gaming. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It does. Someone now probably has to go into a meeting, probably like we're in a meeting right now, digitally, and go, that's going to change because we have to take a loss. Oh no, but we're going to take a loss, Professor. It's okay. No, sir. We have to take a fucking serious cut here. Like, well, I'll have to talk to the gentleman in the suits, and they will. I'm going to say now my prediction. I'm going to give a prediction of price, and then I'm going to ask you guys a question. We'll all go predict. I'm going to say they are going to actually go $399 for the slim. Well, not slim. Sorry, discless.
Digital.
And I think $449 for them. I don't think they will allow Xbox to be more expensive, more cheap. So I'm going to say $399, $449. Mick?
The same. I
Okay.
said I tweeted this the other day. I said exactly the same. I'm hoping it'd be nice if they went 349
£20.
399. Yeah,
And you get a
give
free
me
Xbox.
a tenner, a bag of chips. I thought if they went 349 399, so they were somewhere in between that. But
Now
I
that
don't
would
think
be
they
something.
can. Yeah, I mean that would be that. To me, what I meant by that was that would be. Imagine if they did
Oh, that's
that. That would
insane.
they'd be back in the game, right? But
But
I
they
think
don't quite need to do that, I don't think.
No, I think what they'll do is what you said, and I've said this myself. I think it'll be $399 for the discless.
I'm telling you now that Xbox was supposed to be $599. I'm telling you now.
So I was going to say the same numbers.
But see, they've got with Game Pass, they can afford this shit, though, right?
I'm going to throw something else out there. Then, could they keep the discless at $399 but charge $499 for the?
I thought that. I just don't think.
I don't think
will
they
allow
would.
Xbox
I don't
to be
think
an
they
option.
would. Yeah,
But
They will
I
want
don't
to
think
be-
they'd do it.
Because do you not think that there is enough of a Sony following?
There is, but let me
prepare
ask you
to
this
pay £50
question.
for
Let's
it?
say
They're
they
not selling it
announce
to
that.
those guys, though, are they? They're not trying. They're not.
let-
No,
They're
but that's the
already
point. That's the
guaranteed
point.
sales, aren't they?
That's
I
the
mean, the
point.
Let's say
Sony
they do.
fanboys.
They do what you've said, $399, $499, right?
Yeah.
The first thing, and Twitter will be awash with it, and they will be abused to the high heavens. The first thing anyone will say is, "Oh, so a disc drive's £100, is it?"
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They can't. They
absolutely.
can't. They might. They might. The question I've got for you, 2 prongs, right? One, just a yes or no one for both of you. Do you think by the time people hear this podcast that aren't Patreons, they will have announced a price?
No.
Yes.
Okay,
You
that's
think?
easy.
I
That's
don't.
easy. That's easy. I think yes, personally. Do you think, because I think it's a very slim chance, a very slim outside chance. Do you think there's a chance that discless PS5 is more than just a PS5 without a disc tray?
What do you mean?
Do you mean different specs?
Yes.
You mean like the Xbox
Like the S.
One S is different?
Because they didn't really go into anything other than the discless PS5. They
I
could have come back
don't.
at a later point and say, "Oh, more information on that discless PS5. It's called the PS5 Slim, and because it would be
No.
slim, and it's got less."
I don't think that would happen.
No?
And the reason
Okay.
I don't think that would happen is because Sony don't have Game Pass. Like Xbox can
They
afford
do.
to
They
sell.
have PlayStation Now. People never
Yeah,
talk
I know,
about that.
but no, exactly. No one ever talks about that. They haven't just rolled EA Access into PlayStation Now. They aren't rolling out these games. I mean, I think Xbox are in a better position to do that. And Xbox have released the Xbox Series S purely for the reasons we said earlier, purely to get those families that are on a budget, purely to get those people that are on the fence and are going, well, I'd rather take a risk on 250 quid than I would on 450 quid. And I don't think so. I think if Sony did that, I mean, what's their selling point for it being cheaper other than this is a cheaper version of, I don't know.
I'd be more surprised if they did, because I got serious vibes from the the video announcement.
And
that
I
they
agree.
did, that it was exactly the same. It's just we've got 2 options for whichever way you want to play. It wasn't like the 2 options are, financially wise. It was like if you want a discless one, you can have it.
If
We're
that's
doing one.
true, they will push the discless version very, very heavily. Because that way they get a percentage of all the sales of all the games. You can't go into game and pay 40 quid.
Is that how you do the 499 399 then?
I don't think it'd be
if they are the
399
same-
for the.
if-
I don't
if
think
they
it'd be
are-
399.
If they are the same guts inside those machines,
499
and the only difference is one has a disk drive, I don't know that they can do 399 for that thing.
No,
I think
And-
it'd be
and if they do,
399,
they are taking-
449. I do.
Let's put it this way: if the PS5 Slim is just a discless PS5, and it's 50 quid difference, and we've had this conversation before, I think I'm going discless.
Yeah.
Simple.
See, I don't have a disc drive on my PC. I don't miss it.
No, I don't either.
I don't.
No.
The last time I purchased a physical copy of a game was about 2 years ago.
And we should again caveat that by saying that we're pretty well looked
Oh,
after.
yes, we
by
are.
the job
We are
do.
looked after. We do get. Yeah, that's very true. And
But I
so,
also don't like. I've had so many.
I like having games on a
consoles with-
shelf, though. I've
I
always
don't.
liked
Well,
that, and
no,
that's
no,
what some
no.
people
Me,
do.
No, I very clearly like things on a shelf. They're right behind me, but I don't like changing discs because I have had so many consoles that have had disk drive problems over the years.
Yeah, so have I. This is
that
the
I
thing.
don't want to fanny around with discs anymore. I'm happy.
Even
to
my
just get- and
PS4
especially
Pro,
look at
that's
what
a
they've
year
said.
old.
Well, that's the thing. Look at what they've said about the Xbox Series X and S. Like the instant changing between games is going to be better than ever before. That's what I believe this generation was going to be, and it isn't because it has to suspend them and you can only run one game at a time. This thing, the X, is going to have that. It's going to allow you to do that, and that to me is like that's great.
It's a different market, though, isn't it? Like we said, it's a
Things
very
are changing.
different market now.
Everything's changing. The world is different. It's nice to have something to be excited about. Let's get into some listener correspondence. Yeah, well, I would imagine this time next week we'll be talking about a PS5 price. Just 2 questions, actually. We didn't put the call out this week, so we've got some left over from last week. This is you're gonna have to sort of process this one. So this is from Thomas McInnes. If the following game characters were wrestlers, which non-Nintendo music track would you pick as entrance music for them? Bowser is the first one. No?
You can either have something with like lots of grunt behind it, or something really ironic, like a really I
didn't come prepared, but I am a music fan, as it were, and I'm going to say for Bowser, Kid Rock, Ba Widda Ba. Okay?
Maybe.
Ba Widda Ba Ba Dang Dang. No, fine. Just before he went all.
I mean, I just think funny ones like big butts in a can had like
for Bowser.
Well, for
anyone.
All of them.
Should be everybody's entrance music.
Okay.
That's my entrance music.
What about for Mario? Anyone? Or Mario? Sorry. How do you say it?
Mario. But it's Mario, isn't it?
No, it's Mario.
It's a Mario.
No, it's
Mario.
No, sorry, Charles Martinez wrong. He's just saying it wrong at the voice. No one's got the guts to tell him in the voice recordings. Charles, this professor again, and of course, Charles, could you take a little bit of the edge off soften the A up a little bit there? No, not like that. We've been here before, young man. Not like that. It's Mario. It's Super Mario Brothers, and I'm going to say it again: the Super Mario Brothers.
Well, you say it how Bob Hoskins said it. It was Mario.
Did you, when you were a kid,
Mario and Luigi Mario.
When you were a kid playing Mario, did you know, like when you were a kid? So Super Mario Bros, Brothers, it's BROS, full stop, short for brothers. Mm-hmm. Did you know that as a kid? Like you knew that's what that meant, Super Mario Bros?
Yeah, they were brothers.
Yeah.
Mario.
Yeah,
okay, well let's just move on then. What music would you give to Mario? I'm gonna go Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of.
I mean, fairly apt. He's ruthless, isn't he?
He's quite a violent motherfucker, to be honest.
He stamps on heads, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one else got anything?
I've got a blank.
The Ace of Spades.
I'm trying to think of really clever answers.
Let's just have him come into the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades while he's just bouncing on goobers.
Just the entire Tony
Hawk's. Too much Tony Hawk's, yeah.
Tony Hawk's soundtrack.
It sounds rather like it. No one's got anything else? No? Really?
I mean, just like I see you, baby, shaking
Genuine pony. Let's just don't Google the video. Just it'll change it.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay. So, anyone else for? How about Toad? What would Toad come in?
I like to move it by what were they called?
I just like the Chewits advert.
I like to move it. Yeah. Actually, I can't listen to that song. Here's a fun fact about my psyche. I can't listen to that song, I like to move it, without visually seeing in my mind the Lost Vikings. Do you remember the game, The Lost Vikings? Do you remember that game?
That's a game and a half, yes.
I used to play The Lost Vikings, and for some reason, I used to play that song quite a lot, and and those two are forever connected in my brain. If I hear I like to move it, I see The Lost Vikings. The same as if I play SimCity, I hear the Bad Boys soundtrack, because I used to just have the Bad Boys soundtrack on repeat while I played SimCity. So yeah, moving on. Sorry, but that's a fun fact about me.
Peach.
Well, shaking that ass. I've already given you one for
that. Jason Derulo, Swallow.
How does that go?
No, we'll move on there to Yoshi or Yoshi. How do you say that?
Yoshi.
Yoshi.
He
I always
says
say
Yoshi,
Yoshi,
doesn't he? He says Yoshi. or whatever, a better version of that.
I've always pronounced it
Like
He doesn't say
Yoshi.
anything. He's an animal.
What's that?
He doesn't say anything.
He does. He literally says his own name.
The little baby
You think
T-Rex
is
in
he
the
saying his
movie.
name there? Oh, we're
I
learning
think
all
he
sorts
says-
Okay, well, if you're in Smash Brothers and you do a little taunt, he says his name. That is him saying Yoshi just to break some. Like,
Well, I'm
play
going to
Smash.
say that he comes down to the 42 seconds of Blink 182's "Happy Holidays, You Bastard."
Okay.
Just look up the lyrics.
Trying to think of a counter argument.
Look up the lyrics, Chris. Look up the lyrics. Sorry, just look up the lyrics. It's really inappropriate.
Oh, is it
What
that
it is.
one? Oh, okay.
It's the really short
I know
one.
which one it is.
Yeah, about Christmas and your dad and some stuff happening. It's not really. It's a bit inappropriate. Can each of the team? Oh, I don't want to do this. Can each of the team do their best smouldering selfie face and get the others to rate it? They must describe it too for extra hilarity for those who don't watch on video.
So I've been told, right?
Yes.
I do
when I'm at
nothing
work-
but smolder.
Yeah.
When I'm at work, like, and I'm looking at the computer and I'm just doing work and I'm focused.
Yes.
But I'd sort of do like a pout, like a bit of like Blue Steel Zoolander type.
You do nothing
Type
but
it.
turn me on for the whole
Yeah.
time we're
So
recording.
like, if I'm like just focusing and like typing away,
Thank you.
then I just like go like that, like a little bit of a Blue Steel kind of thing.
that's how you concentrate.
Yeah,
duck
that's literally how I
face.
do it.
You just
So,
did
like-
duck face. That's not small.
I mean, it is for certain people. You do smouldering then, mate. Go on then.
I can't now.
Oh, sorry, I've rocked your groove, have I?
Do you know what? I'm going to say this right. I used to have a real good. If you sort of look, I mean, I've got a hat on. It's not going to work. Looking up, so you got to sort of look down a bit, and you got to look up at them. But I can't do it because I've got so many fucking crow's feet around my eyes now. I probably would have to take my glasses off, which makes me look even worse now. I just look like an old man. My eyes go all small when I take my glasses off. Let's get. Can Mick do it?
I don't smolder because I was blessed with extraordinary dimples. So when I smile, people swoon. I don't tend to smolder. Plus, I'm too old for smoldering now. It's all gone. It's all hairy and wrinkly. And that's just my
your
ball
face,
sack.
yeah?
Okay.
Your face.
Obviously,
checking.
my face.
Right.
There you go.
Okay. Isn't there an actor thing? He does it in Friends, doesn't he? Look down, look down, look down.
Yeah, you got to
look
look down, and you got to sort of. And the mic, I've forgotten. I'm actually on camera and on a mic. You've got to sort of look down and sort of just
naturally look up. You just do it like The Rock in Jumanji. That wink was just. I'm too messy now. Yeah.
I used to genuinely be able to do a good smouldering look, but I didn't wear glasses all the time, and it's genuinely about sort of you have to look down, like you say, Mick, and you sort of got to look up, but not like so the whole not so it's not
All
you're not
the way
square
up.
on. You got to sort of just, and again, there's a great big
Hood the brows. Hey, baby.
The old
choppers
like
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, or there's
bullseye or
this.
something.
All right, ladies.
I suppose there's this as well. You know, there's the turn to camera.
Ding. You need to add a ding to that in the
Yeah,
post.
I can't do that. I'm not doing that. It's too much work, Nick. So how would you describe these smouldering looks that we just
well, see,
Well,
when I
I've got duck
smoulder-
face
the
for you
voice.
guys, so we'll go with duck face for mine.
When I
yours was
smoulder-
duck-face, yeah, and I have seen
When
you do
I-
that before.
When I smolder at my wife, when I give her she always says, "Don't fucking look at me like that."
Because
I know what that look means.
I'm going to slip over.
Yeah, I know what that look means. I said, I don't. But no, I don't think I've never been much of a smolderer.
You don't need to, mate. And what I tend to do, my way around it is I just basically, I just like close your eyes, and then I just get a microphone and pipe that into their ears, and it's just like, oh god, he's got
Beautiful. Yeah, you don't need to
Yeah, your
smolder
voice.
when you've
Your
got a
voice
voice.
is all the smolder you need.
Yeah.
It's the only time I tend to hear in my day-to-day life, anyway, the word damp, which is not describing my voice at all. Anyway, that'll be that for a
Just
podcast.
the fucking chairs.
Yes, yeah, that'll be that for a podcast. What are we going to talk about next week? Well, we mentioned it's me. Some video games. We're going to talk about some video games next week. Some old ones, some new ones.
Did we talk about video games today? I can't
really.
remember.
Wait for that, by the way. I can't wait.
It's going to be a
What-
good pod,
for
Chris.
what?
I agree. Yeah. No, Chris is talking about next week's podcast. He can't wait for it.
Oh.
It'll be a good one. Do you know what? We'll probably talk about PES next week because the PES 21 update thingy is out, then
I've
now.
got some stuff to talk about next week. I'm playing loads of stuff that's embargoed. and
Oh,
it's
those
just-
damn fucking things, Mick. Do you know what? When's Spelunky 2 out? That's next week, isn't it? This week? I too much maths. Thank
won't
you
play
to
that. It's
thank you
too
to
hard
Chris
for me.
and to Mick for being here. Really appreciate your time, mate.
Thanks for having
Mate.
me.
Pleasure.
Mate. And as I stifle a belch there to try and get the end of this podcast out in dignity, which, let's be honest, sailed about 200 episodes ago, it's a time to say that we do have a Patreon, we do have a YouTube channel, we have a Twitter, a Facebook, an Instagram, and all of them are called GodIsAGeek.com.
Yes.
Well, actually, they're just called God Is a Geek. So you can go find those. Thank you very
Smouldering
much
is
for watching.
extra.
Yes. You have to pay the Patreon bucks to get the smouldering, and then maybe
I
if we
can't-
get big enough, we'll go for an OnlyFans. I've said
have
OnlyFans
too much
twice
fun
this
to-
week. There you go. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week, or whenever you choose to listen or watch. Bye bye for now. See you later.
Bye.